All right, as you've probably guessed, you're seeing this video because a couple of people decided to be jackasses. Not so much to me, but to some of my friends that I care about quite a bit. Both are practitioners, and they might have their own efforts, but I sure as hell offered mine. Some of the stuff I've done already, like these two decaying candles, it's a little bit different this time, which is why I'm actually making the video. I'm going to go through several things, like I'm using several different, I don't want to say pantheons because I typically don't, but several different, well, I'm using some of the Chinese entities here in a bit. I've got Hecate coming up and Santa Muerte. With the Chinese side, though, we are using, or I should say requesting, because using sounds really bad. It's probably just me being overly sensitive to that, but we are requesting from Huxian, who's already accepted, that some fox spirits for some exceptional mischief that will, and I say mischief, undermining it, they will go in conjunction with these decaying candles. Now, these decaying candles are both for Hecate. Which is a little bit unusual for me. I can't remember the last time I did a ritual like this with her, but she absolutely stood up and said, I will. Yes, ma'am. She's lovely. And she has a tie to me, and she has a tie to one of the other practitioners. Santa Muerte has a tie to the other practitioner, much stronger than her tie to Hecate. So Santa Muerte wants in, Hecate wants in on both. The fox spirits went in on both. I would feel sorry for these targets, but they kind of deserve it, or we wouldn't be doing it. So what have we already done? So what I've already done is I've already pre-drilled the holes in here. Okay. There's a reason I'm showing this ritual, and I've already charged blood on these candles, and I did use Hesperidia's funeral pile oil on here. Because I've started using more oils, as much for maybe some of the trace elements as it is to keep my blood on the candle, right? So if I'm going to offer the blood, I don't want it flaked off and just sitting here. I mean, I don't know that they need it. It needs a strong word, but you know what I mean. Anyways, so I don't really want it flaking off, and so oils have been very instrumental in that. Which is why they've been creeping up in my rituals lately. I'm not an herbalist. Yeah, all right. So what do we still have to do? We still have to fill the holes, right? And in these candles, and Hecate knows who the targets are. I actually don't have a name for one, and I don't need the name for the one, right? I frequently operate without knowing names. Because of the work I do in general. Sometimes people aren't found, and sometimes that's part of my job. At least I take it on as my responsibility. It's not my job, right? But just because you don't know somebody's name doesn't mean you can't bring some sort of justice to them or light to it to help make them found, right? Say Bifrons might be good for something like that, right? If he can put lights over graves, then I'm pretty sure you can put lights elsewhere. So is Helios. Helios is really good for stuff like that too. I mean, Helios is actually good for a lot of things. All right, I'm getting off track. I know it happens. So what have we already done? We already talked about that. We drill the holes. I flooded these candles with energy as offerings, like I do, the filler candles. I bled on them, I oiled them, I told you that, great. Next, what we're gonna do is you're going to start using this magical concoction. But there's part of the reason why I am recording this is because I recently did some videos about using multiple energy sources And I am absolutely going to do that tonight. These candles right here, the drilled candles that will contain the decaying energy from my little concoction here, I'm going to also charge, and I'm going to do it in a unique way. So it will give some context to some of these videos that I have done lately, and this is something that I will do, and it will, as you can see, it's been active. This is actually already burnt out, but these graveyard stones here are literally from the graveyards that I visited, and I don't take a stone from every graveyard that I visit, but I do if offered, and there's a link to that graveyard, right? And by link, I mean a spirit has said, hey, yes, we will help you, I will help you. Yes, you may take this. You know, I don't ask. If it's offered, I accept, but I don't ask, right? So all the stuff I've done over the years with graveyard work, all those stones are sitting right there. And what do? Well, they feed into a spot I have designated over here in my yard, with a prickly bush, which looks like a tree, that is designated for them. And the prickles keep everybody else but me away. So that is my designated graveyard, as I've called it in the past. So we will be taking these after they are filled. I will also put some of this funeral pile oil on them, and then I will use the connections with those stones to then add further death energy into those candles. Because the filler candles are my offerings to whoever is going to facilitate the process. This is some of the energy that I want going their way, right? And I don't always do extra fillings, but I am now. For this one, I am. It's pretty serious. So what I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm going to go ahead and fill these candles, because it would be really boring for you to watch all that, right? So I'll go ahead and fill these candles. You've seen that in the past before. And then now that'll facilitate lighting these offering candles, but before I light these, though, these decaying candles, I'll be switching over to that other topic, and I'll start the video back up. But there's no reason for you to have to watch all this, because this could take me an hour, right? So with that in mind, we will go ahead and switch over to that when I come back. All right, welcome back. So as you may or may not be able to see, these candles are now filled. The filler candles are now there, are lit, and they will stay lit. But I'd said earlier that I was going to charge these candles with additional energy, these decaying candles with additional energy. And I kind of wanted to go over that a little bit. So what are we doing here? You could do it with the sigil too if you wanted to. But here what I'm doing is these are linked to all of their graveyards, right? And they're also linked to that spot of land I have over there that I have designated. But since I know these are all linked there, I can link myself to all of them. And then if I were want to, say, create that link, I could hold those candles in my hand and let all that decaying energy feed into those candles, right? Acting as a link myself. You could also use an approach where you create a servitor to then link to all those, and then you put the candle of the servitor and then direct the servitor to flood that candle. But that's an additional step that I don't need. But if you do need it, by all means, you could take that and move them into a crystal. We talked about that like last time, where I said, hey, let's open up that crystal. Let's open up these sigils, feed into the crystal. We feed the candle on top of that crystal, and then we pull the energy into the candle. That's essentially the same thing we're doing here. So with that in mind, I'll be taking both of these. Okay. And what I'll do is I will connect to all these stones, renew their links to all the places where I got them from, and any additional links that spirits who are interested in helping, and some are, I can feel them, do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically put a flat sheet over here with of energy they can then go to fill these candles with, you know, energy from death, decay, destruction. Some of these were from battlefields, things like that. So I will wait here until there are a couple entities that are deceased entities that are kind of watching over this. So I'll wait until they tell me that the energies are in there where they should be, because otherwise these candles are not charged, and they don't have to be with my method, but I want to in this case for sure. It's good. Okay. And what was that like to hear? Well, it was literally a little whisper, kind of like both behind and inside of my back left ear in this case. Except I could hear somebody almost like they were whispering, put their hand over their mouth. So, all right, these are now charged. And so I will now oil them. I have talked about using urine in the past. I'm oiling them this time just because I feel like I should. So I am. Literally, that's it. I normally don't. It isn't necessary. You can do it without that, but I have it, so I may as well use it. Okay. So we've got our candles. Let's close this up first before I do something stupid. Ooh, gloves dirty. Okay. All right. Oh, I haven't said it yet. Don't die or get injured for your enemy. You know, use gloves. You don't have to touch this nasty stuff that you wish upon your enemy. You know, and keep in, and then have to have potential problems, especially over time, for yourself. Now, as you can tell, this is the. Oh, you can't tell. There we go. Sorry. This is where I did all the filling. So I'll basically move these candles over here. They're all for Hecate, so that isn't an issue. And then literally take them over here to my statue of Hecate. Now, I did already do a partial offering earlier where I allowed her and the people, some of the people, entities, if you will, that were going to help her, Santa Muerte, the Fox Immortal, and the spirits helping her. I allowed them to come in and taste the beer. And what beer was that, you might ask? It is Friday night, so Victory Beer, Merry Monkey. Not bad. Pretty strong, so careful with that. All right. So just to recap, we've done the standard the standard decaying candle ritual here, but we did a couple other things in addition. We charged these candles with additional energy. We had already filled those. We oiled the candles, which we hadn't done in the past, and I wasn't sure if the oil would actually cause problems because I oiled these feeder candles too. I didn't notice much of a difference, so that's okay. I literally just hadn't done it before. All right, so we have that in place. She is the administrator of all these candles. There are about to be some more offerings and stuff coming. So once I get these candles lit, I will start in on those, and you will be a recipient of those too, because it shows a multilateral approach that isn't just goetic. And largely these are entities that really want to be involved with it for I don't want to say personal reasons, but it's true. So thank you, Hecate. I don't need to say much more because she already knows she's going to minister this project as she sees fit within the areas that she has said that she wants to do. Santa Muerte is there for different things. The Fox Immortal is there for different things also. So I will start up, I will clean some of this up, and then I will transition over to some of the other offerings. It's going to be kind of short. Most of those will be, because the agreements have already been made, mostly because I said, I am going to do this, and they said, we will help. And that kind of shortens the negotiation process when they're like, yeah, we'll help, right? So, all right. Decaying candles are lit. 2 targets are about to be toast here pretty soon. I'm going to turn this venting fan on over here a little bit higher, so I'm not in here breathing up in those fumes. Because some of those are fish scales, like there are still fish scales in that mix that I have had in there for about 5 years now. So they've been charged and charged and charged and charged with all sorts of stuff. And they were literally in decaying fish. So, all right, here we go. I'll pick back up with another part of the ritual, and there will probably be another 2 or 3 parts. All right, welcome back. So right now I've moved on to the Santa Muerte. Phase isn't the right word, but I do need to give her the offerings. And there are actually several things that Santa Muerte is doing, and I really wish I could explain what, but it's a several part problem here. And if I do that, then I'm relaying stories of, in some cases, abuse, and I don't really want to do that. So there's some, obviously there's some retribution involved. But there's also some healing, and then there's more supportive elements, because healing can take a lot of forms. You have immediate kind of healing that needs to happen, then of course some longer term. And unfortunately, in this case, it might take a little bit of a while. So I'm not gonna. I really can't say what it is, and I'm not going to. But the amount of stuff I'm about to give seems inappropriate if I didn't at least relay some of that, because I've got 3 pieces of incense laid out here. I've got 4 of these stands laid out there, and I'm about to do 5 candles for her as well, because that's what she requested. And these stands here, oh, you only need 2? Okay, sorry about that. These stands here are actually for different types of incense. You can use those for these jaw stick ones that I got a long time ago. You can find these on Amazon if you want to. Really like them. Really low smoke. Pleasant smell. It's what I was doing my daily offerings to the dead for. But we're using them here for the stuff I got from China. All right. Well, I ordered it from the Chinese. It didn't come from China, I don't think. But this is aloe wood and wormwood in much longer forms. These are still essentially jaw sticks, but in longer form. And so 2 of those will go here, and then 2 will go over here, but those will be for the Fox. These are the candles that she has picked out, and she picked out the colors. I've already charged them. She wants me to bleed on the red one, and this orange one, not on the others. So, fine. You know, I don't really ask, right? I don't take it personally. If it's said no, don't do it. Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting what the angle of this camera is. I don't take it personally. If yesterday they said yes and today they say no, I don't. Doesn't matter to me. Well, I mean, it does, but I don't take it personally, right? If they want it, then it matters that I give it, and I do. There we go. Pretty simple. I don't know if that's coming through on video because the screen's about, an 1.5 inches wide, but whatever. Let's roll. Got a few more of those in me here, so no worries. There's some spirits that just don't want it, and that's fine, right? Some people say, "Oh, only a drop." I don't. Fine. That's all you. If that's good enough for you, that's fine. If that's good enough for them, that's fine. It's not good enough for me usually, but like here, 3 without, 2 with. Am I going to get upset about that? Hell no. All right, now the easiest way to go about this is to use one of those pottery plates that I have been touting because they are cheap. And that will help because these are like 5 candles, so it's going to be a little bit more Obviously, my room's getting a little run out of room here a bit. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and move these into place. And then I will actually use one of the unblooded ones. So that way I'm not taking blood away from them. So I'll use this one to light the others. Because that is, I mean, the same person. Well, person. You know what I mean. So, there we go. Ah, hell. Bit me in the ass on that one now, didn't it? Oh, good. It'll get lit. Like I said, I don't take it personally. Now, you see the 3 incense discs behind here, and once again, I'm using some of these handy-dandy tweezers to light the incense. And it's going to the same place. So, I let her pick these out. These are pretty much the only cone incense I have remaining. So I wouldn't take it as, oh, she loves this, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't do it. Wind is shifting, so I have to kind of, the window, my venting fan is right here, as you've seen before, and so the wind was like coming in through it. I was afraid it was going to ruin things. Here we go. There we go. Ooh, well, let's just make sure. There we go. Okay. Now, so these are essentially really long jaw sticks of incense. So they are. It's the same stuff I've been burning for a while. It's just much longer, about twice the length. And I will say that I don't know about the aloes wood, but the wormwood absolutely smells like wormwood. I have some raw wormwood over here. It literally just smells like cut grass to me, but I guess maybe to somebody else's. But, all right, I guess it doesn't matter. Here we go. But the wormwood absolutely does. I got these on AliExpress, so here we go. All right. These actually came, the little tiles, let me make sure I can get one. They're literally just little tiles that came with some of the incense I bought at that Buddhist temple on Oahu. It was about this, whew, not helpful, is it? Box about like that and like that. But each one of them came with one of those, and I have got my mileage out of those, for sure. Looking forward to going back to that place on Oahu. But, Santa Muerte, hail and thank you, undead lady. Thank you, Saint Santa Muerte, for helping my friend in ways that you know are best for her, for I do not. If anything else is needed from me, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you. And that's literally going to be it for that. Now, if you don't have the genuine emotion behind that, I guess I will give another. Ah, shit. I guess I just struck that spot earlier. Forgot. I will give another offering to them for this. I will. Not that they really need it, but still. Even simple things done well. Done with proper intent and some focus. Because really here I need their expertise. I need their vantage points. Because I can cast all day long. But I I am not going to know the nuances of things like them. And with one of my friends, it was a pretty traumatic experience, and they talked to me a bit more about it than they were in the beginning, and not because I pried or anything, because that's not me, but anyways, I know that I need their vantage points, and I know that they know what is needed better than I do, and I don't have an ego like that. It's like, hey, if you, by all means, because it's really the help of my friends that I need. I mean, this isn't a complex ritual for personal gain, right? This is righting several wrongs. So, all right, so we should probably go over what happens at this point. It's been offered. These things have been offered. If you notice, these are pretty close to the walls here. So what I'll probably do is I'll take those and I'll move them back. I'll move this plate over, because once it's been offered, and it's been offered properly, and it's been offered in good faith, she doesn't need the light from the candles, right? She's already going to get the energy that has been put into these things, so it isn't needed, right? So it doesn't matter if I just move it off to the side. So just let me go ahead and demonstrate that, because I can talk about it all day long. I really don't want to get that picture in the background. That'll be all right. All right. So what I'll do here is I'll just move this over, and that's fine. That's fine. I know some people are like, oh, if you don't move it, what are you going to do? Are they going to be offended? No, they're not going to be offended. If this whole place burns down, and it burns down their idol, then it's going to be a lot longer before I make offerings to them, right? So even if you just look at it from that perspective, right, it makes sense to move it. So move it we shall. So we did. Now I would say that these were the last bit of the candles from the jail, the prison and prisoners video I did for those unfortunate conditions in Madagascar, and so those have finally burnt. I felt bad. I was feeling like really poorly yesterday, so I didn't burn them. I'm not going to sit out here and burn candles just feeling poorly if I need a rest, right? And that's also another thing I wanted to say was here. Actually, another thing I want to say is this. See where my hand is here, right? You got to check where these are, because you probably can't see if there's some burn marks on here, right? So eventually I'll go and I'll move these candles over, right? These are probably okay, but I'll start moving these candles over time. Because like I said, the offering was made with good intent. It was made appropriately. They don't need the light from the candles to see, right? So, all right. So next thing, I'm going to start getting set up for the Immortal Fox portion of this. I've been given a couple of things that I wasn't expecting for that, and it's mostly going to be incense. I don't expect any blood, and they're just kind of, so far they're just kind of like that, right? It's a little bit different. It's a different pantheon, has a different feel. I say pantheon. I wish I knew the word, but I really don't. It's definitely a different. It's definitely a different system, and that system requires less of that, at least as far as I've seen and experienced, because I've offered it, and yeah, they'll take it, but like if I make offerings to Xiao Ming, I don't have to blood all those ingots, so, and I've offered. So, all right, kind of saying the same thing over and over again. All right, let me go ahead and turn this off. I will then get things set up for that portion. And yeah, all this is still the same. As far as I'm concerned, it's the same ritual. It's just different parts of the ritual. Kind of like you've got a play and you've got different acts of the play, right? Different scenes, different stages. All right, fair enough. Get ready. All right, welcome back. As much as I said there was going to be no blood, or less, I've been corrected a bit. not on the candle, those candles per se, but I've been asked for a couple of dabs on these, which are wormwood, same wormwood from earlier. They didn't want any aloes wood, which, all right. Now the Immortal Fox, which is here. I make offerings to her every single day. Here's the nine-tailed fox itself, and she's holding it. Have for over a year at this point. Yeah, some days I've missed. I was traveling or just sick as shit. But for over a year. I think it was January 3rd or January 6th, and it's past that. So I typically don't give blood for her stuff. And I use oud. Crap, I'm forgetting the name now. Aloes, it's sometimes called aloes wood. Jesus Christ. Now I feel really bad. Agar wood, I'm sorry. Yes, sometimes you'll see agar wood listed as aloes wood, which is why I got those other sticks, right? But I light 3 sticks for her daily, and that is it's sort of a reciprocity thing, but we're kind of getting off the topic there a little bit. But I was a little surprised that there was going to be no aloes wood or agar wood in this. Now I was asked for 2 candles, and those candles I've given to her in the past. Dani Lovo is a brand name. Beeswax candles, small beeswax candles. These are both Dani Lovo candles. I burnt one of these earlier for some spirits, and it goes over really well. That bag over there was specifically for Huxian, the Fox Immortal. So I was asked for red and black candle. I was asked for red and black beeswax candles, and I was asked for 2 sticks of wormwood. So here we go. Now, it wasn't requested that these items be charged, and I think that's important to note. This is a very different, Pantheon is not the right word, but it's a very different system, I'll say. But I was asked for some blood. A couple drops. Okay, there's one. Oh, come on. All right. Be another. So here. Okay. Now, when I make offerings, usually with these beeswax candles, like the offering I made earlier, I made it to several spirits, and so I would coat it with. And it's a personal offering, so I would coat it with saliva and blood. But here, that's not what I'm being asked to do. This is going to a single place, single entity here. And so, single cold blood. And these holders are from the Dani Lovo store. Before that, actually, I used, let me show you here. You get these little tins, if you will. Probably not tin, but you get these little tins with your incense cones. And if you put a couple drops of wax on it and really quickly stick that on there, it'll hold it for you. And that's what I used like a really long time until I could get, 'cause these aren't always in stock. And really what you're doing here is you're filling the bottom of this with wax that gets partially melted, and then it just builds up over time until you get like this. Now you just shove it in there and you call it good. But I need to get that requisite drop. There we go. But none for these other candles over here, which is okay. So as you can see, it's a very different thing. They have a different mission though too. Now, one of these people, the Fox has taken an interest in, right? And so that is partially what's driving the Fox's interest. The Immortal Fox's interest, I should say. So I get that. And the other is because a jackass needs to pay. And that's what it is. The Immortal Fox typically has to deal with like love, lust. It can deal with like stagecraft, things like that. Performances, like movie performances, musicians, things like that involve presence. So that's where she's getting involved. But I think she's getting involved here, I think, because a jackass needs to pay. And a jackass needs to pay. And so what I do know is that there's an equivalent to, these terms might offend, but I hope they won't. There's a younger fox spirit we would consider like a juvenile, but that's not correct. It may actually be older than me, but me, the person. So there's another spirit that's acting as like a mentor and a guide, that would seem more like a pre-college maybe. So I hope that's not offensive, but if it is, then I guess maybe some of this will do the smoothing out. All right, so what am I going to do here? Well, I'm going to light one of these. Yo. These are all going to the same place. So if some wax gets dripped here, gets dripped there, there's no cross-contamination issues. This might get a little weird, but haven't lit them this way yet. That's all I'm saying. All right, there we go. Now it's important to note that I'm there. Keep an eye on that. Here, let me turn this off. All right, that's better. Let me turn this down. Okay. So it's important to note that she has her own reasons for helping with this. And so there's not really a negotiation that needs to be had here. These are the offerings that are requested of me. If other things are requested of me for this, like later or something, then with her, I'm fine with that. Same as like with Hecate or Santa Muerte. I don't have to do the negotiations right here because, just like the spiritual pillar, step one, I've built the relationships involved, and that's not like a cop out. It really isn't. I've asked. It was like, hey, do you need ingots? I mean, ingots because that's part of their belief system, their tradition, if you will. It's part of that practice. I'll say. Do you need ancestor money? I mean, I just burnt a shit ton of it the other night. That was never even videotaped because it didn't need to be. Why would it be? That was not going to benefit anybody else, right? All right, it looks like I'll need to close that window. But here you go. I mean, this is for two of my friends. I've had some very unfortunate experiences this week. And thankfully, they had somebody they could talk to. They could help do something about it. All right, that's all I got for you. I'll be moving those candles. I'll be moving all those candles, things like that. Just like I said, it'll be fine. So happy casting. And if you have any questions or anything like that, either hit me up an email or hit the comments. And if they're too detailed or something like that, then or too personal, then I would suggest email or just ask me to message you or something like that. Okay. Happy Friday. Not for these targets.